Hi, I'm Todd with Freedom Fighter Tactical. This video is to address 922R compliance with the Benelli M4 Tactical Shotgun and the Benelli brand collapsible stock, which I have right here. This has to do with federal law. I got my information from the ATF. I sent a letter to the ATF inquiring about how to do this with this firearm in a legal fashion. Federal law applies, which means it applies in every state in the nation. I get a lot of people that call me and say, oh, I live in Florida, we have great gun laws. Well, it doesn't matter, this is federal law, so it's going to apply to you too. The only state that I'm aware, there's a few states that prohibit the collapsible stock. California is one of them, which is why this gun doesn't have one. We are situated in California. I think there's a couple other states in New England that also make it a felony to put this collapsible stock on the gun. That's your responsibility to know those laws. Basically, this gun comes out of the box with a different stock than this stock. This is a Mesa Tactical stock, but it's very similar to the OEM, which is the original stock. It's a one-piece construction between the grip and the stock itself. This gun also has a few other aftermarket parts on them. I'll just point them out really quick. We have a prototype bolt release pad button on the side of the gun. We have an oversized charging handle, the 1/2-inch titanium. We have a aftermarket rail, aftermarket forend, aftermarket tube. Just to let you know, this gun isn't completely stock, but let's presume it is stock. Let's presume that none of this stuff is on there, and the first thing you do when you pull it out of the box is you want to put a Benelli collapsible stock on there. 922R applies. Basically what 922R is, we all call it 922R. It actually comprises several different laws, but these laws require Benelli to ship the gun into the country without the collapsible stock, without the full magazine tube, which are two very popular features that people want on this gun after they've bought it. So you can add these to your gun in most places in this country, but you have to jump through several hoops and change out some parts according to the ATF. It's kind of convoluted and confusing. I'm trying to clear that up for you. You can call the number at the bottom of the video screen. I answer it personally, and I'll help you through it. But please watch the video, see if we can make heads or tails out of this before you give me a ring, because I may answer your question here in just a minute. But anyway, the ATF gives us under 922R and the other laws associated with this. There's 20 potential parts that this gun could have on it that make it subject to this law when it's imported in the country. It can have these parts on the gun, but if you want to add capacity or do the collapsible stock, you can have no more than 10 of these parts on the gun. And when this gun is imported in the country, it has 13 of these parts on the gun. So since this video strictly focuses on the collapsible stock, we won't go into the 922R with the full-length magazine tube. I have another video for that. You can check out our channel on YouTube and find it. This is just strictly the collapsible stock. So when this gun comes into the country, it has 13 parts on it. And one of the parts is the full stock, the standard, what is generally called the standard stock. It's a pistol integrated into the stock, and it's one piece. When you take it off the gun, it comes off as one piece, okay? The ATF counts that as one part. The interesting thing about the collapsible stock is, if you add this to the gun, if you notice, this is an original stock, collapsible, made by Benelli. There's two pieces. There's a grip and there's a butt stock. So what you've done is, if you take this gun out of the box, it's got 13 parts on it, and you immediately put this on there, because the ATF considers this two parts, now you have 14 so-called imported parts on the gun. Well, you can't have the collapsible stock on the gun and have 14 parts on the gun. So you have to change out a few other parts in order to add the collapsible stock and get rid of the OEM stock and do it in a legal fashion. Freedom Fighter Tactical makes enough parts for you to do this with and change out very easily. The parts are over here on the side of the table. Basically, we have the follower. It's an aluminum follower. They're stamped made in USA. It's not required that they're stamped, but there are. We have 4 colors. It's an inexpensive option. What a follower is it sits on the end of the spring inside your magazine tube and pushes up against the last shell. Simple. You're going to most likely be changing your magazine tube anyway, so this is a natural part to consider. Inexpensive, easy to replace. The Freedom Fighter Tactical replacement forend. We've got one on the gun right here to show you the fit. We've got one right here to show you the pieces off the gun. It's basically an imitation of the original Benelli forend. and it says Made in USA by FFT, Freedom Fighter Tactical. So again, it doesn't need to be stated that it's Made in USA, but it is for easy recognition if anybody were to call you out on it. Then we have the 3 trigger components. The trigger, the hammer, the disconnector, all are stamped Made in USA. These individually count as parts for 922R compliance. So if you're doing the collapsible stock and you need 4 parts, oh, and I'll just say one other thing. If you were using the 7-round magazine tube, the Mesa Tactical stock would be a part that you could use for 922R compliance. Obviously, if you're using the collapsible stock, you cannot also have the Mesa stock on the gun. So that takes the Mesa stock off the table for 922R compliance with the collapsible stock. That should be obvious, but oftentimes when I get in discussions with people on the phone, we forget we're talking about the collapsible stock, and we keep the Mesa Tactical stock as part of the gear that you can use, and then at the end we kind of chuckle that, wait a minute, we're actually replacing that part. They both can't be on the gun at the same time. So you need 4 parts with a collapsible stock. Freedom Fighter Tactical does not make enough parts to get you around 922R compliance to where you can avoid using one of the 3 trigger components. It's just not possible. And it's, at the time we've made this video, we're not aware of any other manufacturers on the planet that make a 4th part that's not one of the trigger parts. So you're going to have to choose one of the 3 trigger parts if you want to use the collapsible stock legally. To comply with 922R, include Forend, the 3 trigger parts, the 4 followers, one of the 4 followers it covers, and the 7-round magazine tube. So provided you're using the 7-round magazine tube with the collapsible stock, your 7-round magazine tube counts as 1 part, okay? So that's one. So you could do the Forend, you could do one of the followers, but as you see, you're gonna have to pick one of these to make a 4th part. What most of our customers do that you're using the collapsible stock, they just wanna do it cheap and easy, and they also recognize the benefit of adding the trigger group because it does actually reduce the pull weight just a tad. They do the trigger group and then they pick one of the followers. It's quick, it's easy, it's inexpensive. This is the trigger group. There's one pin that pops it out, that holds it in place. It pops out. You can manipulate these 3 pieces very easily. They drop right in. If you're not competent to do that, only you will know that. You can have your gunsmith do it. So, just to rehash real quick before we end this video, in order to put the collapsible stock on the Benelli M4 shotgun, and according to the ATF, as they've explained it to us, and again, that's not our legal advice to you, that's not even our advice to you, we're just telling you what the ATF has told us, that in order to add the collapsible stock legally on the Benelli M4, you have to switch out 4 of the parts off the 922R parts list with American-made parts. 7-round magazine tube, the Forend, one of the followers, and one of the trigger components will work, or any combination thereof, as long as you've got a total of 4 American-made parts. It's as simple as that. Again, there are complications with the mag tube, especially if you're using the 2-rounder with this gun. If you're using the 2-round extension with the collapsible stock, then you're going to actually need still 4 of these parts rather than counting this as one of the parts. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, give me a ring at the phone number at the bottom of the video. I'll be happy to explain it to you. I answer phone calls on this every day. It's amazing how many calls we get about 922R. So anyway, I wish you well, be safe. Thank you for considering our parts for your 922R compliance and for beefing up your Benelli and making it a more awesome gun than it is already out of the box. Take care.